Hello, everybody. Road Warriors 627 here, back with you for another preview here on my channel. And today we've got the best one of the whole year. It's the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, and we've got 2 days to talk about, not just one. We've got Friday and Saturday. Of course, the Belmont Stakes will be included. We've got timestamps down in the description for all the races, all 24 races, 11 Friday, 13 on Saturday, assuming we have opinions in all of them, which I'm not sure is true, but we'll see about that. Let's introduce today's guests. We've got two of the most common guests on the channel, Sammy Roseman and Jack Sargent. Sammy, what's going on?
Belmont week, this is the first time all three of us will be at the track together, so it's an exciting week with great races.
And Jack, the host of Racing Rundown, who just this morning, we're recording this on Thursday, June 8th, did his Hofstra radio show from 7 to 10 in the morning and also put out podcast episode 211 yesterday, which I was privileged enough to join him on to sub in for Eric for a day. And he did that. Go subscribe to Racing Rundown on wherever you get your podcasts. So, what's up with you, Jack? You tired yet? You ready to go to sleep?
Well, here's the thing. I don't sleep during the day, so I got maybe about like 2 hours of brief sleep after today. But horses this weekend. That's the thing that's going on. Glad to return the favor. You were so kind to be on Racing Rundown. Yesterday, the one thing that I will say, Andrew, is I'm not sure. You might be mistaken. The best one of the year was actually last weekend across an ocean.
All right, all right. No, but I'm talking about my channel. The best video of the year on my channel.
I know. I just wanted to throw that little stipulation in there. If that's even the right word
Jack
for it.
Jack is a big fan of overseas racing. If you did not know that already, and last weekend was great indeed. But we're going to have to talk about some domestic racing today. 24 races. I don't have an opinion in all of them. We're going to talk about the first 11, which are on Friday tomorrow. We think they're going to run despite maybe a little bit of lingering smoke in the air. I think we'll be fine. Let's talk about race number one. We've got a 6 furlong maiden on the main track. I'm gonna go. We haven't really established an order yet. I guess we'll start off with me, Sammy, and then Jack, and we could rotate around whatever. I'm gonna use 3 horses in here. I'm gonna use both Charlie Baker first time starters. Just a little bit of loyalty there. And then we're going to use the number 7, the morning line favorite, Fast Buck Freddie, for Jorge Abreu.
Off topic, Jack, but do you think Jamie Ness would be eligible to run in Europe? They let
No,
him
I
run.
don't think so. I don't think so.
How about Linda Rice?
It depends.
But now getting back on topic. This one I can see why the 7 is honestly 9-5 morning line. This field just isn't very good. The two, besides the Linda Rice horse, who may just run off the screen, and the Charlie Baker horse, there really isn't that much more form. And I think any one of these 7 horses can honestly win the race, even the 4. So I can see the 7's obviously going to be favored because Irad and Jorge Abreu, they're strong connections. Horse has been working well, so I can see why that horse is going to be favored, but not really much opinion for me in this race. If I was going to bet it, I'd probably skip the race, especially with the races later in the week.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put out there that the early part of this card is still affected by the leave that I took from racing post Kentucky Derby, and I'm not going to have much to say about the early races on this card just because I don't really have the knowledge to comment that I would like to in a situation normally.
Yeah, that's fine from both of you. Should mention quickly the 3 and the 4 are both coming off long layoffs and both just had 1 start each last fall. If you're a fan of second time starters, which sometimes I am, maybe you want to include them. I don't have a strong opinion on either one. Chad Summers definitely is sneaky, and the horse has 2 bullets coming into this race. Was intended to run on the turf on May 29th, though. Should point that out. We're going to move on to race number 2. I have no opinion in this race, the 6 furlong interturf allowance. I'll probably come up with something. The only thing I could say is that Bold Journey did transfer his form to the turf last time in a race that I had the exact end. That was probably my best opinion when I went to the track on May 13th. Everything else went up in smoke. But so he can run on the turf, just like on the dirt as well. But other than that, I really don't have any opinions in here. Sammy, anything in the second race?
I mean, the entry is obviously the horse to beat. I don't know if you're going to get 6-5 on them because they're both easily the best two horses in the race, and they're couples. So you're probably looking at more like 4-5. But you said Bold Journey. He came out of the Carter, ran second in an allowance, and the other horse for same connections ran just as good, maybe even better if you're using equibase figures. So I really don't see why one of them doesn't win this race. Quite possibly might run 1-2.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because there's no value to be had there at all. I'll come up with some kind of opinion by tomorrow, but as of now, nothing at all. Or maybe I'll just skip the race. Third race, I also don't really have an opinion right now. This is a 75 maiden 1 mile on the main track. Your one-turn mile, one-turn route, just like the name of the show we do here. You got you got the boy Dutrow in here. Uh, you got a 6-5 Todd Pletcher, and you got 5 other horses. Very exciting race. Read my sarcasm.
I mean, this race is very interesting on the morning line standpoint because why is this Pletcher honestly could just roll, but 6-5. If you notice, he lost the two. The two got DQ'd. So why is that horse 3-1 and this horse is 6-5? I get it, the connections. Yeah, this horse probably will win, but I mean, he doesn't seem that big of a standout to me. Beside, but who knows? I'm probably really wrong.
Had an easy trip up front too.
6-5 just seems low. I see 2-1, 5-2. If it was like 5-2 and 3-1, that makes more sense. But 6-5 on a horse in his debut that lost to the two, and the two shouldn't even be in the race, but he's 3-1. I don't know. I really have no opinion on these early races, but as the day goes on, I will.
Yeah, I would say if you can try to beat this 6 horse, definitely try to beat this 6 horse. That's one opinion I will give you, and definitely agree with Sammy. Now we're going to get into the a little bit of meat here, and we're going to talk about the just a game. Me and Jack are kind of going to rehash what we talked about on his podcast, episode 211, because we talked all the stakes races Friday and Saturday. I'm just going to reiterate quickly in Italian. I'm tired of her getting handed easy leads. I hope that Spenderella goes after her and sets it up for in Italian's uncoupled, same owner stablemate, Speak of the Devil, and she finally gets the Chad Brown stable win that she will be afforded eventually. I know she got one in the Distaff turf mile last year at Churchill on Derby Day, but that was fake turf. Let's see if she gets a real turf win. If you bet in Italian at 1-2 to win, what are you doing with your life? I'm assuming you have better things to do, like go yachting or something like that. So why are you betting on horses?
Yeah, here's the thing about In Italian. She looked every bit the part in winning the Jenny Wiley at Keeneland, but there's a couple things there. Number one, as Andrew mentioned, she's been handed everything on a silver platter in her entire career. Now, I was of the belief that you have to, and I still do believe that she is the best domestic turf horse at this trip, but I don't think the gap is very large, and I think a horse like Spenderella is very even with her. There's one other thing that I will point out, and we will talk about with the Moonlight later when we get to the when we get to the New York. With the Moonlight, did not show up when running in the pardon me for a moment, in the Dahlia Stakes at Newmarket, going the 1.125 trip after running in the Jenny Wiley at Keeneland. And so I think that that's a very easy race to forgive, given that it was soft going there, and With the Moonlight hates soft going. But if you're someone who doesn't like With the Moonlight and wants to find a reason to not like In Italian outside of the obvious, whenever she is handed things easily, she wins, you can point to with the Moonlight bouncing in the Dahlia at Newmarket as a reason to go against her. The reason I'm going against In Italian here in this race is because I think this is finally the opportunity that a horse of equal talent to her is going to run at her early. And the one race that she lost last year, post Diana, was that Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf when she was run at early by Aidan O'Brien's Rabbit. Now, that's not saying that Spenderella is going to go out there and rabbit her and set it up for Speak of the Devil. Andrew would love that. I would not love that because Spenderella was my selection. But I think if you just go up there and don't make it so easy on her, then it's a possibility. And I'm really sort of using this as a prove it race. If In Italian is able to win this with actual pressure, then she's a horse that I will respect all the way up through to the Breeders' Cup when Aidan O'Brien brings another rabbit for his A horse in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf and beats her again like he did last year.
I guess I need to do something with my life because I just don't see how she doesn't win. They're gonna obviously let her walk. Have you met these New York riders before? Come on, they let people go like 115 on the turf course. But what are you saying, Andrew?
I agree with you, Sammy. I think that's the most likely scenario. I just want to see someone do it. And sometimes Tyler Gaffalione can be aggressive. He won a couple of races that I remember in my head at Saratoga last year on that inner turf course by being aggressive and winning on pretty good prices because he had the knowledge that these races you need to be somewhat forward in. This is a completely different dynamic. The almost a one-turn mile versus the 7 furlong 2-turn turf races up there. But the point is that in this situation, it's a similar thing just because of the horse is going to go out to the lead. I'm just tired of seeing this happen, and I really hope Gaffalione goes after her because Gaffalione holds the key to this race not only for his horse, but for everybody. Before you finish, Sammy, just wanted to say, why did I pick Speak of the Devil over Spenderella? I think Spenderella is a better horse. Just the price. Speak of the Devil lost to her by a length, but she's 5 times the price. So that's why I had to do that. Go ahead, Sammy. Please continue.
Speaking of Speak the Devil, it is crazy how 1 year ago after that Churchill race, we just thought she was the next superstar in America, like the next Sister Charlie or something. Man, she fell off. I don't know what happened, but watch her win here. At 10 to
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't think it's fair to say that she fell off because she won the Del Mar Oaks in very impressive fashion, and then she ran second at Churchill off of a massive break because she got injured.
Yeah, I was talking about the 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misheard there.
Cinderella has not fallen off. She just got beat last year. She's been good.
Sorry, Sammy. That's the symptom of having been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't hear things correctly.
Cinderella's she's gonna run an honest race here like she always does. I mean, but Angie's been saying Gaffalione's the key. Gaffalione isn't dumb. He knows what he's doing. I mean, if he pressures in Italian, you might get something there. But I probably won't be playing this race. 1 to 2 has no value. And if I think a horse could beat her, honestly, I'll take Wakanaka. I know that sounds crazy, but if Joelle doesn't play dumb and they go after an Italian, maybe she can close, but I really just don't see how an Italian gets beat. And it's probably going to be the same pattern as Jack's been saying the whole year, where she wins all these races uncontested. Aidan O'Brien brings a rabbit, and she loses to his best horse.
That's exactly what happened last year, and I don't really see a reason why it doesn't happen this year.
All right, so moving past that garbage of the 4th race with the 1 to 2 Peter Brandt, Chad Brown, let's move on to the 5th. This is the last race of the day where I don't have an opinion. Sammy, got anything in here?
I mean, maybe Gaffalione's horse, because I like Gaffalione riding for pleasure, because Gaffalione, like I've been saying, is always going to give you an honest ride. And, he reminds me of Irad's riding style, but actually uses the rail, if that makes any sense. But, I mean, Jacobson always has to interest you because, Jacobson comes back, his horses are 5 to 1, they go down to 6 to 5 and run off the track. So, and Clement has a horse too. And it's interesting that Irad chose that horse over Jacobson's horse. But like I've been saying, I really just don't like these races. And I'll be busy tomorrow, so we'll be really playing these random races. But on Saturday, I'll be all in on those 13 races.
Yeah, I was a little interested in the 7 as well. I'd love the 8 normally, but I think 3 to 1 is horrible value on Endowed, even though he's for my favorite trainer. Okay, the sixth race is an allowance optional claiming 6 furlongs on the main track. And this race is all about, for me, a big fat number 7 on Listen to Your Heart. I love this horse very much. This horse will be a single in anything I do. Love him, love him, love him. I just wish that his rider was stronger.
I mean, if Listen to Your Heart had a jockey like, no disrespect to Katie Davis, because she's actually a smart rider. She just has no strength down the lane. If he had a jockey like Dylan Davis, this horse a lock. Seriously. Especially since the horse he beat is running the Woody Stevens tomorrow or the 99 buyer, so that means he must have got a 99 buyer as well.
The form he's
This
in
race is,
now, yes.
I mean, he maybe Dot's dollar. I mean, Linda Rice you can never count out. But Andrew really cares about this race. I mean, but also let's talk about the former names in this race: High Oak, Collaborate, Casadero, which Jack is going to mention in 1 second. But yeah, Listen to Your Heart. You know, that's Andrew's boy.
He
Yeah,
is.
this is a great time for me to jump in because I didn't think that I was gonna have this take, but I'm gonna go pretty heavily in on Cazadero, who fell off of form after winning the Nearctic at Woodbine. He's trying the dirt for the first time in quite a long time, and he was purchased by by Jacobson, who's the owner trainer for him. Makes his first start for Jacobson at the Keeneland Horses of Racing Age sale in this past April. But Cazadero has some very good back form to him, and I think I think you're remiss to dismiss him based off of the two efforts, which one's a Breeders' Cup race and one's the Alquaz at Maidan, which can be a very sinker float race for American horses. On the flip side, he hasn't won on the dirt in just under 2 years. You'd have to go back to June of 2021 to find a dirt win for him, but the win in the Arctic was a very solid effort for him. I would prefer if he was on the turf, but I like this trip for him. I think 6 furlongs is an ideal distance for him. I think it's worth a try getting into this race. And now this isn't a class drop, but I think it's worth a try. It's the right price here, and I can forgive the efforts that he had in the Breeders' Cup and in the Alquaz because, like I mentioned, those are difficult spots for a horse like him to come back in. And I think so. You're liable to get. He is coupled with his stablemate here in this race, but you're liable to get a fairer price on him than you would have otherwise, given the ability that he's shown in the past and the fact that he is coming off of those two very disappointing on paper efforts.
I'll throw in $1 exact the box just for you, Jack. Just for you, because I respect your opinion. There's other horses in there who may have a shot if the top couple don't run their race, but for me, it's all about listening to your heart. Race number 7. 7 furlongs on the Widener, our last non-stake race of the day, and I'm just going to play a little bit in here. I do like the 5-horse Be the Boss for Mike Maker and the Rat. Last time won in an off-the-turf race, comes back on the turf. I don't think the horse has run bad on the turf in his career, even though the numbers don't really say that. I think the horse is fine on the turf. And you get the Rat, as I already mentioned. One of my longer prices in here will be Creasa, the Dave Donk horse, who won last time. Got a pace to close into, absolutely. But I like Dave Donk horses when they're on and stepping up into this allowance. I like that move. He's being aggressive with him right off the maiden, and not in that long of time either. In fact, he probably hasn't had a workout since then, just turning right back. I like that move, and I'll use Clement's horse, Ortis, who broke his maiden second time out. I don't know why there's a layoff line. Why is there a layoff line there between May 6th, 2023 and now? That doesn't make any sense. But yes, I will be using that horse as well. So I'll be boxing 5, 9, 11 in the 7th race.
I actually found Creasa interesting as well because his numbers actually fit right into this race if you look at the race, and like you said, got a pace to run into. But he really liked that distance. He's going to get that again today. And there's no real world beaters in this race. I mean, obviously, Maker's horse is interesting at 5-1 with Irad, but he doesn't have the same numbers he does on dirt than he has on turf. So there's always that. Maybe Ortis, but who knows with Joel. Might take the horse. Might take the horse to Saratoga on the backstretch. But yeah, don't really have too much strong opinions on the Friday card. But if I was going to bet this race, I would take Creasa at 12-1 because I always like playing Dave Donk. He always knew we were gonna get with that with his runners. Like I remember last weekend I picked one of his runners on a 1 week rest, came back and won with Jose. I don't know if Andrew caught that. Probably was in Arizona, but I like Dave Donk, especially with after Ricken.
Oh,
But
absolutely, of
yeah,
course. And I like Velasquez staying with this horse and riding for Donk. I love Velasquez riding for Donk.
and he gets the same distance as well. So, but also there's a mod horse at 12-1 though.
Yeah, I'm aware of
And give
that,
me
and
a
I
backup.
can shout out that horse quickly. Dr. Settle's Dream coming off of a layoff there. Mott's numbers out of 43 horses, 23% win percentage, 180 plus day layoff, so he can get them ready. Broke the maiden first time out, then stepped up to his stake and couldn't do anything in that race at all. Gets back to easier class this time and gets back to one turn where he broke his maiden. So that will probably help him as well and keeps Alvarado from the first race way back when.
I'm going to jump in here really fast. The last couple of times I have been at Belmont Park, where Belmont Stakes Friday and the Saturday of Stars and Stripes Day, and both of those days I was with Linda Rice when Feathers rode, ran in his 2 races, and if he's going to be anywhere near this 15-1 price, I will probably be obligated to throw some kind of show wager on him because he ran third last time you ran third last time at 8-1 and paid 5-10 to show. And you look at the form lines, with the exception of the one race at Aqueduct on the 15th, he hasn't missed the board or he is a board hitting merchant. So it's very difficult to ignore a horse who cashes tickets almost every time he comes to the win or comes to the track.
Yeah, screw Linda Rice. That's my opinion. Even though I've had to bet her a little bit more lately, and actually it's worked out for me. But let's just say there was some news today that came out about her getting out of that suspension, and needless to say, I'm pissed. Let's move on from a girl I hate to a girl I love, and that girl is Warlike Goddess in the 8th race, the New York. Uh, I have concerns about her in this race, and it's actually not Joel Rosario. That would be my normal concern with her. But this time it's actually the distance. I think she wants a mile and a half. I don't think she wants a mile and a quarter. I think that her not running in the Man of War and running in that stupid race at Keeneland was a mistake. She would have destroyed the field in the Man of War, even though Red Knight won very impressively, at least relative to the rest of that field. I don't know why they couldn't have run her back there, but she should beat these horses even at the shorter 10 furlongs. But there is concern if 2 of Chad's horses are a little bit more aggressive. I'm actually very concerned about a horse that me and Jack hit first time out named Market Segmentation back in 2021 at Aqueduct, who has developed into a very nice horse. If she is up near the lead and is just kind of waltzing along, I'm scared of that horse. And you have to be scared of With the Moonlight just because Charlie Appleby. I know the last race was pretty bad, but still there's concern. But Warlike Goddess is the queen of the American turf. That's God Save the Queen, everybody. Yep. That is God Save the Queen, and that describes Warlike Goddess to a
As
T.
soon as you said Queen, that was my cue. I've had that queued up as soon as I knew we were going to get to this race. God save the Queen. That's my take on this race. God save the Queen.
She is my favorite female horse crush, and I would love nothing more than to see her win this race at my favorite track, her first time running at my favorite track.
And I'll just add a little. I kind of alluded to this. So Warlike Goddess, mile and a quarter trip. Be damned. I'm concerned about the trip too, but Warlike Goddess just wins races. So I'm worried, but I'm not worried to think that she's going to lose this race because I think that she's just Warlike Goddess and she finds a way every single time to win races. I talked about it earlier with the Moonlight. I want to give her credit because she's getting back up to a trip, which I think is her ideal trip. Her two races at Maidan this winter were proper races. She won last time in the Balanchine on February 24th at Maidan by over 4.5 lengths, and that was going a mile and an eighth. I think a mile and a quarter is absolutely what she wants to do. She just ran into McCulloch last year at Belmont Park and lost to McCulloch when McCulloch was at her absolute best. McCulloch has taken a slight step back. She's in this race, and I think it's very surprise. I'm not surprised. I understand why she's this price, but I think it's very interesting to see how much the price has dropped on McCulloch from this point, that from the fact that she was the winner of the most prestigious race for 3-year-old fillies at this track 11 months ago. But with the Moonlight, ignore the race that she had in the Dahlia at Newmarket. That was soft going. She hates soft ground. That was her first career effort on soft ground. She's beaten 13 lengths there. I can completely throw that out because I'm absolutely confident that that was the reason that she didn't like, or that she didn't run well. Another thing to bolster that is Prosperous Voyage, who is another filly who's in that race. She won at Epsom in the Princess Elizabeth Stake this past weekend, going just beyond a mile. But she was a horse that was also victimized by the soft ground there. So with the Moonlight as an absolute bounce back candidate, the going was absolutely what beat her there. But God save the Queen.
I guess it's my turn now. I mean, I hate to do it again, but this week might be a little chalky for me, but I think it just comes down to horses being better than others. I mean, we're like Goddess, like you've been saying with the trip. I mean, it might be too short, but like Jack has been alluding, she just gets the job done. And you know, what I found interesting though was Irad choosing McCulloch over market segmentation, but I think it just comes down to him being loyal to a horse that's done so much for him, I guess. But obviously you have to respect Appleby anytime he comes here. But a horse I found interesting was a 3, Didia. But I really don't know what to think of her. I mean, she's gonna appreciate the distance, but she still has to beat top competition, even though she beat good horses. So I guess we'll just stay. But maybe she might just be a freak. If you never know, she's never lost, but or she hasn't lost in a while. But I think we're like Goddess. It's her race to lose. Boil it down. It's her race to lose.
3's got a lot of ones lately, which does scare me a little bit. But come on, Queen, do your job, get the job done, and make us all extremely, extremely happy. The champion female turf horse of the last 2 years, everybody, Warlike Goddess.
No, Andrew, we will not be happy. We will be delighted. We're
We
on
will
the
be.
turf.
I don't want to be delighted because I don't want to see Charlie Appleby in the winner's circle after this race. We're just going to be. We're
There we go.
we're
That's
just going to
exactly.
be American happy. American happy. And we're going to stick with American happiness in the ninth race, which is the Acorn mile and the 16th. I think it used to be. There used to be a mile.
Yeah, it used to be a mile.
Mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be the one for a mile.
Yeah, there's two favorites in here that are both pretty good. Money's Gold, pretty mischievous. I like two of the Chad Brown horses, the two randomized, but actually much more the 8 a seed. I think she had a chance to run into that pace last time, but you're getting 8-1, and she gets an extra furlong, and actually a furlong and a half to run into. Maybe she'll get to run better this time. You get a pretty good, decent price. Outside post with Flavian Pratt, randomized if she can step up from that maiden breaking effort, which was pretty impressive. I think the other Chad is a little bit of a fake, a cult. I've never really liked her too much. So I will be skipping her in this race. The two favorites are good, but nobody's a world beater in this 3-year-old filly division.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say really quickly, and I was just gonna default to pretty mischievous in this race, but Andrew pulled me forward to a seed. So I echo, I should say, what Andrew said about her. There's not much I can add. I'm going to give Andrew the credit on that because this was a race, like I said, I was going to default to one of the two favorites in there, but we'll have a little bit of fun.
What do you guys think about the horse from Laurel? For Brittany Russell.
Those are big wins, but this is a big step up. Is this Toledo's only mount of the day, or is he riding more horses?
He's riding Doppelganger.
Oh, Doppelganger, yeah, the somehow winner of the Carter. I'm just gonna say this would be tough.
Yeah. I mean, I respect them going to it. I was there actually, Laurel. She was impressive, but
You got to
it's the
take
next step up.
shots. You have to take shots like this. I
You
love
never
it.
know.
Yeah.
The thing with this crop is right here. You know, Money's Gold, I was going to pick her until you guys put me on to Exceed. But I like Exceed, though, because, listen, Pratt's going to keep this horse. This horse going to get more ground. She's obviously going to get it. And Pratt is going to be on the outside. All right, restart that. My mom interrupted me. All right. You there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me restart. All right, going into the Acorn, you know, I'm kind of on with you guys, though, too, because Exceed is going to get more ground. Where I don't know if you guys noticed, but she's actually making up ground in 8 bells, and you know, she's gonna be a good price. I mean, 8-1 on this horse is just wild. She only lost by a length to the favorite, but this crop is just so inconsistent. You can really go with anyone and not really have a problem. You know, even the Alley's Look came back last week and ran like what, dead last. So you never know when these horses are going to bounce and not bounce. So I mean, Chad Brown has 5-1, 12-1, and 8-1. Andrew, are you drooling right now?
I'm drooling. I wish a cult wasn't such a rat, because in that case I would box all three, but I can't really do that in here. I have no
But
faith in that 4 horse.
I mean, it's only going to be Exceed's third start and 8-1. I don't think that'll hold. I think she'll go down like 5-1. But I mean, I'm on with you guys. Why not? Honestly, with this crop, you gotta take shots in these Grade 1 races because you're going to get paid eventually.
All right, the 10th race is the 2-mile Belmont Gold Cup. Shout out, Channel Maker. The old man is back. And I love him. I'm going to bet him. Does he have any chance to win this race? I don't think so at all. But he gets Luis Saez back, which I'm very happy to see. I don't know why Rosario rode him last time, but he didn't ride him bad. He did what he was supposed to do, and he just finished pretty much second. I know it says sixth, but there was a 5-horse photo for second that he was involved in, and he hung around real well, so good for him. If he wins somehow, I will be down in the winner's circle getting my picture taken with him. As far as horses who have a chance, this is a pretty wide open race, in my opinion, unless Charlie Appleby decides to roll in here. And I think that's what Jack's perspective is. But before he talks about Appleby, just a shout out to another long shot, in fact, a crazy long shot. British Royalty ran a real good second in this race last year. And maybe the horse could run somewhere back to that, in which case a little saver bet on this horse wouldn't be such a bad idea. But I'll let Jack talk about the number 2 horse in here.
Well, listen, this isn't the normal Charlie Appleby year that you would expect, where he's running off the board with, or he's running off the screen with everything. Now, he did win the Fort Marcy with Ottoman Fleet, we'll talk about on the Saturday card, but Charlie Appleby just internationally has had a very down year this year, and Siskany is a horse that I'm very dubious about coming over here and being able to just default to him and saying, okay, well, he's the European in this race. Because if we take a look at the Europeans that have won this race in the past few years, Loft was a standout last year. Baron Samedi was a standout in 2021, and shout out Her Late Majesty, Call to Mind was a standout in 2018. We're actually on Saturday, it will be the on Friday, it will be the 5th year anniversary of that wonderful moment at Belmont Park. But back to current things. Siskany is not a top-level stayer in Europe at all. The big thing in his corner is this is a very weak rendition of the Belmont Gold Cup. A lot of American horses are here, and they're probably here because there isn't that standout horse from Europe. And I respect all the connections and folks who are saying, okay, we'll take our chances in this race because no mauler from Europe came over here. And on one hand, you feel like you want to go with one of those horses, but it just flows through Siskany. As much as I don't think he's a Group 3 stayer in Europe. I'll be completely honest with you. But as much as I don't think he's a Group 3 stayer in Europe, this is a not even close to a Group 3 level of competition over there. And this is, I think, Charlie Appleby's seeing this as an opportunity to get him a Group Stakes. He did that at Maidan. He dropped him in a Group 3. And he dropped in the Group 3 the Not Al Sheba Trophy at Maidan in February. He was able to take that out. Ran second to Broome, who is well fancied somehow for the Ascot Gold Cup in a couple of weeks. I have no confidence that he will run anywhere close to good in that race. And Siskany would be a massive long shot in the Ascot Gold Cup, but that's why he's here. And Charlie Appleby is rational, whereas Aidan O'Brien is not being rational on that front. My dig at Aidan O'Brien aside, I have to go with him because there's no one here. There's none of the Americans jump off the paper as one that will get this 2-mile trip, and the other one and the other factor is there's nobody that really strikes me as having the ability to beat Siskany. I kind of trash his ability, but there's no one here who's better than him. So he's my choice in this race, and we will have a very delighted Charlie Appleby after the Belmont Gold Cup.
I'm on the same page as Jack, but like this race just reminds me. It feels like these horses are here because they can't run in Manhattan. Let's be real. The Americans are here. They can't run in Manhattan. Most of them. But it just boils down to the talent difference. Siskany's obviously the talent is just better than this field, and I just don't. I think William Buell will have to jump off the horse to lose, really. But I just really don't see it in it. He won't be 8-5, but yeah, I agree with Jack here.
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment. Horses that were not good enough to run the Manhattan. I think Channel Maker should have ran in the Manhattan because I think he's got a much better chance at 1.25 miles than he does at 2 miles. But we'll leave that aside.
I will spare Andrew's listeners my ripping into European connections for not coming to this race because, frankly, I'm someone who Andrew and I don't see eye to eye on this viewpoint. I love when European horses come over here and pillage our races. I would have loved to see one of the lesser stayers come over here and get this race, but why win a $250,000 Belmont Gold Cup when you can run 9th in the Ascot Gold Cup?
Okay, and with that little tangent aside, we will move on to the last race of Friday. I know we're talking about a lot of races. That's why there's timestamps. This is the Intercontinental. I think this is a little bit of a chalky race. I don't envision myself spending too much money on it. I think that I guess they're the 4 favorites. Are they the 4 favorites? Sort of. I think the 3 first finishers out of the license fee are all live, including Poppy Flower. Bubble Rock, who will be my top pick, who unfortunately is the favorite in here. I just think she's consistent. And then Going Good, who finished 3rd for Brad Cox in that race. Jack kind of really turned me on to Bay Storm for Jonathan Thomas, who I believe is the second choice on the morning line. Velasquez will have this horse in a very good position in a race that is not over-flooded with speed. And sometimes these 7-furlong races, when there's not a lot of speed, or often actually, are controlled up on the front end. So I'm sure Velasquez, the pace-sensing jockey that he is aware of that. So I wish I had better opinions in here.
The other reason I'm on Bay Storm in this race is because she ran second last time to Caravel, and I think Caravel is as good can possibly be. Andrew echoed the other reasons, but I'll throw that other reason out there that she was second last time in the Unbridled Sydney to Caravel, and I think Caravel is as good can be.
For me, I've been debating between the two, but I'm gonna chalk it out one more time. I would love to pick Poppy Flower here, but like I just think Bubble Rock is probably better than her. And Bubble Rock, I think Brock Cox has finally found out what to do with this horse. She obviously likes to sprint, and I think she's just the class. She has a lot of bad class, and I think she's gonna be tough to beat, especially on the front end or right near the front end. Who knows what Joelle?
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. I don't think this horse will be that far behind, even with the simple bad-mindedness of Joel aboard. Okay, everybody, so that wraps up Friday. We're going to move on to Saturday now. I know I'm switching from Equibase to DRF PPs. I wish I cared. I really don't care, and I don't care if the companies come after me for displaying the PPs on the show. We're trying to educate people here, and if they can't deal with that, then screw them. Race number 1, maiden special weight on the inner turf, 6 furlongs. I actually really like this sort of race to start a big day. And the only problem is I wish there were a little bit better horses in here. I will, out of obligation, have to use the Chad Brown horse, accept the outcome, who did run a very good race last time on April 15th at Aqueduct, chased a very fast pace and hung in there quite well. Then I'd like to use 2 first-time starters on the outside. One for George Weaver, who's a 16% first-time starting trainer, and then one for Todd Pletcher. You get Saez and Franco, 2 guys that I trust riding first-time starters because I know if they don't break well, they will not sit on their asses and wait for the horse to decide when he's going to run. They're actually going to ride the 2 horses, she's in this case because this is a filly race. So those are the 3 I'm going to use. Todd's shorter price, sure, she ran nice last time, whatever, back at Belmont. Got a little bit of a pace to close into, not crazy. Kind of lost by 2 and change to reflexivity. I don't remember exactly how good she was in that race. Trying to remember, but yeah, I'll just take a shot with some prices in here. Try and get the ball rolling good early in the day.
I mean, we got a lot of big connections, but the thing with me here, I'll just be giving out opinions for this card because you don't want to give out any bad luck, which I've had in the past with the Derby and the Preakness. But what's interesting here is, I don't think I've ever seen a Pletcher 10-1 morning line with a $450,000 purchase.
I
with
didn't
that
even
pedigree.
notice that. Whoa. Whoa.
That's expensive.
And you
And the
get
Repo horse
Franco?
wasn't cheap either.
Oh, this horse is serious.
Oh, and Andrew, look at the 11's sire too.
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean, it could come down to just love the shot being the classiest horse in this race. Second off, the layoff will help too. I like how Pletcher's really using Gasoline a lot. But it's a good race to start the Belmont card, I can tell you that.
Jack, anybody?
No, I am all set for this race.
Okay. We're going to move on to the second race, which we're going to stay on the turf. Love it. I'm going to go with a pretty logical choice in here, Solib, who got a pace to close into last time. Pretty fast pace, but did manage to do it. I like horses coming off wins. I like Manny Franco. I think he'll give this horse a nice trip down toward the inside, maybe coming from 4th or 5th in here, and just have a good shot at the top of the stretch. There's other horses in here that are okay. None of them are fantastic or anything like that. It's just a little shot for a little win bet in this race to just keep things moving along. We're not talking about anything in regards to serious money yet. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see what Franco and Velasquez do from the inside because there's only so much space and both horses at least have a little bit of speed. I'm not sure quite how that's going to work out, but I guess we're just going to leave it to the 2 guys who both used to be represented by Angel Cordero Jr., not anymore.
What's honestly surprising in this race is how Solib is actually not favorite. Because his last figure would absolutely crush this field. If you look into it. I mean, it's obviously an upgrade in class, but tell me I'm not wrong.
I just think it probably because had the good setup, Sammy.
Yeah, I mean he did. He did roll right by. Johnny B on the rail is interesting too at 5-1 with Billy Mott. Ran well on the turf too, first time out.
That
And Greg
horse was
Byers as
bought for.
well.
Look at the price tag on that horse.
500K.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no
interesting.
real opinion. I'll have an opinion by Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure we all will. We're all going to be losing plenty. Race number 3, we've got our first stake race. It is the True North. Happy to see it back on the Belmont Stakes card as it was for many years in the past. Unfortunately, in here, there is a very heavy favorite, even though I am a fan of this horse. I gave him a shot in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year. It worked out, and now he's turned into the best sprinter in America, and that's Elite Power. They are complete. I'm going to say the bad word instead of the kitty word. They are complete pussies for running in this race and not the Met Mile. Sorry, it's just the way it is. This horse deserved to have a chance in the Met Mile. I think it's horrible he's not there. Enough said. He should destroy this field. Strobe is okay. I just don't think he's nearly as good as Elite Power. And today's flavor would be interesting if he wasn't in over his proverbial head.
I'm going to do what I do on racing, run down quite frequently Elite Power next race.
For me, I'm gonna reiterate on Andrew's point. They really are, because Cody's Wish and Elite Power, they should have ran against each other. But I kind of get it, because I think what Belmont wants to do is he knows. These horses are the 2 best sprinters in the country. So Cody's Wish will go to the routes. So I think after this, Met Mile, he'll probably go Whitney, and then Jockey Club Gold Cup, whatever the race is in September now. I think it's Jockey Club Gold Cup. Am I wrong?
You're right.
And then he'll go to the Classic, and then Elite Power will do this, then probably go to the Forgo, because I don't see
Well,
Belmont riding him.
Vanderbilt first, then the Forgo.
Oh yeah, Vanderbilt, and then the Forgo, and then Vosberg or Breeders' Cup Sprint, one of the others. But I think he would separate them. But Elite Power is a top class spinner, and he would easily be the second choice in the Memo and a good shot. He's gonna roll here. I've seen some people say Strobe's gonna beat him. Elite Power is a much better horse than he was last May. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Let's move on now to race number 4. We've got another allowance before we get into a bunch of stake races in a row. I do like the number 5 horse in here, All About the Money. I got to use David Jacobson at some point today, and I'm going to use him coming off a very short rest, winning at Penn National. This kind of move seems to work. A bunch of the time, he gets the rad up. I'm just going to take this horse. I know the figures are a little bit slow, but he's got better figures further back, and I just think 5-1 on a horse like this with these kind of top connections is very good. He'll have a nice, probably stalking trip in this race if there is a little pace, and it does look like there could be some pace in here.
I think the horse to beat, honestly, in this race is the 1, American Law. But because his numbers have been good, and he licks 7 furlongs. He ran second and first on it. And Carmouche, he's going to be aggressive on the rail, especially in this kind of race. But a perfect example. I don't know if Jack's looking at the PP is a perfect, if he is, but check out the 8. Perfect example of a big buyer. This horse went 67, then ran second in a nose by a nose at Acorn, earned a 93 buyer. Then went to 72 with a victory at the same track, and then went down to 62 in the Peter Pan. The definition of a fake buyer.
Can't say I remember that race off the top of my head, but I'm sure your argument is not in vain. All right, race number 5 is the Polka. The Polka Handicap. We got 1 mile on the Widener turf course. There's a horse in here I think is going to be severely overbet because he tripped out last time and beat Modern Games. I will let him try to do that again. And I'm going to go with one of the 2 Chads in here. I'm going to go with the shorter priced, higher classly raced Emirati. Of course, this horse lost to Sifting Sands 3 starts back when Sifting Sands was still a god. So I'm going to trust in him. I don't care about the layoff. Chad's great off layoffs. But Chad's got another horse in here at a pretty big price who's coming off a layoff, and I'm going to let Jack talk about him quickly.
Yeah, I'm going with McKinnon in this race. Shea Pierre completely tripped out in the Maker's Mark Mile, plus was the beneficiary of maybe the worst ride I've ever seen William Buick give on Modern Games. So it was a good win for him, but 3.5 lengths, that horse is not 3.5 lengths better than Modern Games, and Modern Games showed it when he won the Lockinge at, when he won the Lockinge at Newbury a couple weeks ago. And Shea Pierre, nice horse, but he is just not of that. He's just not as good as that Maker's Mark Mile victory would indicate that he is. And McKinnon, who hasn't really run up to his top class form since his 2-year-old campaign, did have some okay races did have some okay races last year, specifically won the Hill Prince after he switched to Chad. It's off a big break here, but I don't really fear Chad horses off the layoff, and I think that Chad did good to improve him from the starts that he had out on the West Coast in his first start in the Hill Prince. We'll see if he does one better second time in the barn, but I think Shea Pierre has to be a bet against here because I just because of how much he tripped out there and how bad the ride was that Modern Games got in that Maker's Mark Mile. I think that if Modern Games had been given a sane ride, he would have won that race no problem.
I think we all know where I'm going here. Been a big fan of Shea Pierre for a while, ever since he first started running. But I actually disagree with that. I think it was really impressive, and I don't think I've ever felt worse after a race. When I got off that horse, he was like, I was before the race, it was like 29-1. I was like, 29-1 on this horse. I was like, there has to be something that I'm missing. So I pick up to the mark. This horse from 29-1 to 9-1 in the gate wins in a hand ride, and honestly worked out because that's the reason why I picked up to the mark in the Turf Classic, because I was gonna pick Santini, but I couldn't do that to myself. Got to pick, so it worked out. He's a class. He should win here. Anything else would kind of surprise me a little bit.
Quick aside, you could talk about breakdowns, you could talk about safety. One of the biggest dangers in horse racing is the shit that these computer and what are they called, CAW organizations are ruining the betting in horse racing. It's a major freaking problem to see a horse in a race with that much handle go from 29-1 down to 9-1. And I know that's not as big of a dip as like 5-1 down to 2-1 or something like that. But it's a big
Yes, it
dip
is.
if you bet on the horse. No, I mean in terms of the handle that gets the money to do
Oh,
that. But in terms of you bet on the horse, you're losing so much of the value there. It's complete
whoever bet that
BS,
horse
and it
late,
is a major danger to the future of horse racing. Forget about PETA and all the other stuff. There's internal problems like this that nobody wants to talk about or fix because everybody's just raking in the money. Had to mention that. Sorry. Okay, race number 6, the Brooklyn Handicap, named after my favorite borough of New York City. And I'm going to go back to an old friend in here named Lone Rock, because Lone Rock is not going to be the favorite in here. And Lone Rock used to be the king of this distance, and I'm going to give him one chance to get back to that form. Can he do it? I'm not sure. I know his last race sucked, but he did manage to beat Warrant 2 starts back in losing to Calibrate, who was also in this race. Calibrate's trained by Jamie Ness, but then Calibrate lost to some of the other horses. I'm just going to go with the proven commodity. If you're going to get 6-1, that's great. I expect about 4-1 on Lone Rock. Just going to give him another chance. This is not a race where I'm going to have a lot of money through.
I mean, we all are fully expecting Collaborate to run off the screen, right?
Well, I mean, Lone Rock's trainer has a reputation too, Sammy.
Maybe they can make a stretch battle. The juicers down the lane.
Very
Let
possible.
them three. Who knows? This race, I like that Bright Futures in this race though, because he was a favorite on Derby Day, one of the days, whatever it was. But it was Derby Day, and he just didn't really. He ran decent, but I think Pletcher's trying to find something because the horse actually has some talent, but I guess he can't figure out what he wants to do. So I guess this is where you go. I like the move.
Do you think that pedigree, Jack, is okay for Bright Future? He's got 4 1-mile races.
Yeah, I don't love it myself, personally, but you know, it's difficult because this race is so average, and you can put a horse in a mile and a half race with a bunch of other horses. Now, this actually may not be the best way to phrase this, because there are horses in here that have handled the mile and a half trip before, especially Lone Rock. But, Lone Rock might not be the horse that he was a year, 2 years ago. So that being the situation, might be possible. But I don't love the trip for Bright Future in this race, but it also, at the same time, kind of does feel like one of those Todd Pletcher trying to see if he can figure something out with this horse, because you weren't going to have much success running in the True North, and you weren't going to be able to fit him in anywhere else. So try him out here and see what happens.
And you want to talk about your pick in this race, number 2?
Yes, I will. I will. I wasn't sure if anybody else wanted to add on. I'm going with Red Run in this race. Red Run was second in the Isaac Murphy race at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby week, and he lost that race by a neck, which to Warrant, and Warrant's the horse that I know will do just fine at this trip. So that's kind of the dubious thing with going with a horse like Red Run in this race. But Mike Maker, I like Mike Maker. I am going to just play and put my faith in Mike Maker.
Okay, enough said. That's not a bad thing to do. And I will be putting my faith in Mike Maker a little bit later on this card. But first, we're going to talk about the Ogden Phipps race number 7. And there are 3 really good fillies or mares in this race. Search Results and Clairiere and Secret Oath. But there should be one more, and her name is Nest. And the fact that she is not running in this race is an absolute disgrace, because I think she could have won this race and got a great setup. And I think it's really disgusting that they did not get her back in time for this race. And I think it's because they're scared, and in reality, they have nothing to be scared of. Sorry, just had to get that tangent out there. I like Search Results. I've been begging her to get back to that Ogden Phipps she ran last year. She ran very well in the personal ensign out at Saratoga. The Monmouth race, she laid over that field. So even the La Troyenne last time, she only lost by 3/4 of a length. You get a little bit of value compared to Secret Oath and Clairiere. One strong opinion that I mentioned on Jack's show, I think Clairiere is a vastly superior horse to Secret Oath, and I think that earlier this year when Secret Oath beat her, that was just because Clairiere wasn't right. And when Clairiere beat Secret Oath, she should have beat her by a lot more, but Rosario was just being Rosario. So, in that opinion, I'm going to mainly use Search Results and Clairiere in this race, and absolutely nobody else.
Yeah, Andrew and I differ in terms of how wide the gap is between Clairiere and Secret Oath, but Clairiere is the better of the two horses, and that was on display at Oaklawn. I think that the loss that Clairiere had in the Azeri was pretty clearly a result of her just needing a start back. We saw her run an allowance race last year as her comeback effort. Maybe the loss in the Azeri was kind of an explanation as to why Steve Asmussen did that. But all things considered, I think Clairiere is the better of the two horses to Secret Oath. I'm just going to say something. I'm really sick and tired of everybody complaining about the fact that Secret Oath runs so much. And I'm not going to say names because I don't want to specifically call people out for something that they weren't necessarily it wasn't necessarily a criticism when I heard it in this one aspect. But shut up if you're someone who complains about Secret Oath running in races or blah blah blah, because the good thing about Dwayne Lucas is Dwayne Lucas actually does the horse racing part of it. So much of this game is keep the horse in the shed until the one grade 1 we can get them to win, and then keep them in the shed another 2 months, get that grade 1, and then get that Breeders' Cup, and then get to the breeding shed. Dwayne Lucas says, screw that, we're running in everything. This is going to be the 4th significant race that Secret Oath is going to run in this year, and count how many times I frankly agree with Andrew to a certain extent. Count how many times we're going to see Nest this year. We're probably going to see her 3 times. And we've seen Secret Oath 4 times in the last 3 months. So props to Dwayne Lucas for actually doing the horse racing part of horse racing.
Yeah, I think Secret Oath's a takeout reducer in here. That doesn't mean I don't love that she's running in this race and that she's being campaigned the way that she is. I absolutely love it.
I mean, there shouldn't even be an argument anymore who's better at. I mean, also, that was a Joel was already a masterclass there. Still don't know how that horse won. But in this race, I'm going to go with the 3 game stonks. Nah, I'm just joking.
Sounds like a Dave Portnoy horse.
I mean, this horse might be live, never know about those Penn National races. She rolled by 3 lengths. But I still don't know why the horse is in, but I guess just an extra horse, right? I mean, you got to check in this race. You make bank. But the thing with Church's horse, though, she does like this Belmont track, and she was the best horse in the Ogden Phipps, and people who think otherwise are just wrong. But
can we reduce the amount of times we talk about the Ogden Phipps? That opens up unpleasant memories for me.
Hey, me too. I had freaking Malathon too.
Don't worry. Church's horse is very happy Malathon's not running anymore.
True.
Everyone's
yes.
happy Malathon isn't running anymore because you would not be winning this race if she was running.
Exactly.
I'm actually surprised that they didn't bring her back.
I'm not. Have you seen horse racing? Have you seen horse racing the last 15 years?
I mean, soon enough we'll have horses. Oh, wait, we already had a horse retire at 2, basically.
Hashtag not so subtle shots.
Yeah, I think one day we might see horses literally retire after the Kentucky Derby. Or before that. Am I wrong?
Don't speak it into existence because it will definitely happen.
I mean, we already kind of saw it with Loggins. But also, Secret Oath, I don't know what Tyler Gaffney was doing in that race because he actually lost for that race. He was so wide. I mean, but Johnny V just took him to school down that lane. But this is a good addition. Clairiere obviously has to be respected. All of them have to be respected beside the Penn National shipper. But who knows? She might run off the track and last. But it's a great addition. This whole card is just great, phenomenal every year. The Belmont in June. I mean, the Breeders' Cup in June.
Belmont Stakes Day is my favorite day of the year, and I think that speaks for a lot of people. One thing I should mention, too, about search results, I think she will get a very good tactical trip in this race, where the 2 horses that I think have a real chance are coming from behind. So that's why I think it benefits her. We're going to move on to the Woody Stevens, race number 8. We're going to have 2 races now in a row that are absolute freaking wars in here. And I actually went to a guy that I hate, and that's Bob Baffert. And he's got 2 horses in here. He's got Arabian Lion, and then he's got Fort Bragg. I take Fort Bragg because I actually think Rosario will help this horse, him being a little bit more patient. There's a lot of speed in here, and this race has the potential to collapse. This horse has sat off before. That race back at Los Alamitos the end of last year. I think if he can do something like that, this race will set up well for him. And the A-post middle of the pack, it's not a death sentence. Of the 2 Bafferts, I prefer this one. Jack is going to tell you why I don't prefer the 3 Arabian Lion. Another price or a price horse that I'd like to throw in just for a second is Gilmore. Just a horse that I think has a little bit of talent. Number 12, you get Irad Ortiz staying, and another horse that will be coming late because I think these early fractions could be suicidal. Not something you say in New York a lot, but I think in this case it will happen. In a normal situation, I'd like Harrodsburg just because he ran against Listen to Your Heart, but yeah, this horse goes toward the lead. He's toast. If Franco rates him, maybe then he has a chance, but we'll see what happens about that. I'm going to be mainly using Fort Bragg in this race. Just I think it's going to wind up being a better price than General Jim, considering the result of that last race.
Well, first of all, before we get to anything about Fort Bragg, I'm going to say about this race, this is a harken back to what the Woody Stevens used to be, which is when it had big fields like this, it blew up. 2019, Hog Creek Hustle won this race as a massive outsider at 18-1 the year before. Still having fun, all not quite as big of a price as Hog Creek Hustle, but those two horses were coming from very far back in races that completely blew up. Now, last couple of years, you've had COVID fuck the Woody Stevens in 2020, and then Jackie's Warrior, even though he didn't win, and Jack Christopher, both super horses, dilute the field of the Woody Stevens and not really allow it to be the race that it is this year, which it's refreshing, I should say, to see this race come up this way. But as for why Fort Bragg is the choice and not Arabian Lioness. Number one, Fort Bragg was a short loser last time, going a mile. He gets the slight cutback in trip to the 7 furlongs. He was only beating a neck at the 1-turn mile at Churchill Downs, so I don't think that's a bad thing for him. He actually ran respectable in the Florida Derby, which is not something that I ever thought I would say. He's coming off of back-to-back respectable races, which is not something I ever thought I would say about Fort Bragg, because on the Derby trail, pre-Florida Derby, he looked like one of the typical. He looked like one of these Avengers horses that they spend a lot of money on him. He flames out, but I will give him his due. He, in his last couple of races, has looked the part. And the reason why he's the choice and not Arabian Lion is because Arabian Lion is an absolute figure fraud horse. He won the Lexington. He was second in Lexington behind First Mission. First Mission's respectable, but Arabian Lion absolutely tripped out there, and Irad pulled some antics, let's just say that, in the stretch of the Lexington with how he messed around with First Mission there, frustrated a lot of people, including me, because I don't like when Irad pulls crap like that in races. And then he's coming out of a win in the Sir Barton, which is just kind of that was just a race where horses were there. I've never liked Arabian Lion. I still don't like Arabian Lion. I think he's an absolute figure fraud horse, and also he's going to be close to the pace in a race where there is plenty of speed. So plenty of reasons to not like him in this race, and that doesn't even take into account the people who are behind him, most of which are people who I do not have very fond feelings for, but I will keep those feelings to myself.
I mean, you guys are missing also a great point on Fort Bragg. He's getting the blinkers again.
Well, I don't think that'll help him.
No, but his one win is on that. Just saying.
Okay.
But I mean, he got DQ'd one time. But anyways, this field is really good. But like you guys were saying, it's gonna blow up. I don't see how it doesn't blow up. I mean, there's 1, 2. I mean, I honestly think it might be General Jim and Fort Bragg down the lane again.
Could be. Absolutely could be.
I mean, I think Drew's Gilmore and Drew's gold, obviously, because I think especially with that post, they'll sit back, not go, and it's a very good field, and you like to see Woody Stevens this big and not like 6 horse fields with a 1-5, 3-5 favorite like last year. I mean, Jack Christopher put on a show, but I mean, there's no betting standpoint in that, you know.
Well, this race definitely does have a betting standpoint, and we're definitely all thankful for that. Another race that has a betting standpoint is race number 9, the Jaipur, and I'm going to use the same line I used on last year's show and the podcast yesterday with Jack, and that is that I have an extremely strong opinion in this race, and that opinion is, of course, Casa Creed. Number 11, he is another one of my favorite horses in training. And this, in my opinion, is the best American male turf horse in this country. Period. I don't think there's a turf router that is better at routing than he is at sprinting 6 or 7 furlongs. The problem is there are not the races for him in this country to do it in. It's extremely frustrating. But this is his race. Sprinting 6 furlongs on the turf at beautiful Belmont Park is what he wants to do. I think 7 would be even better for him, but that's just not what the Jaipur is. Is it on the inner? No, it's on the Widener, which I actually like even a little bit more. That's great. This race also has a lot of pace. I think it'll set up well for him. The other 3 main horses I'm using are the 10 Big Invasion, the 12 Caravel, and the 8, of course, Arrest Me Red, who ran second to Casa Creed last year. Definitely going to replay that exact a couple times. I just think it'll set up well for Casa. If it completely implodes, Big Invasion will definitely be coming at the end. We'll see how it goes. I'm very excited for this race. And the most important thing is the Casa Creed win bet. Largest win bet I've ever put on a horse will be this Saturday on Casa Creed. Love them.
Yeah,
3 years
I'm
in a
gonna
row.
not be the complete dope that I was in 2021 when I put out a tweet 5 minutes before the Jaipur and said that he was amazing value and he won the Jaipur. And then last year when I don't even know what the hell I was doing in the Jaipur last year, but ignored a very obvious chance for him to win that. I'm gonna go with him this time. I will say I talked Caravel up a lot when we talked about the Philly race at this trip on Friday. Caravel is a 5.5 furlong horse. 6 furlongs is a touch too far for her. I respect her. I think she's the best turf sprinter at the trips that turf sprinters get to run in this country, which is 5.5 furlongs. If we had consistent 6 furlong races like some other places, then it would be Casa Creed. But at 5.5, Caravel is extremely difficult to beat. But this is 6, and she is stepping up in trip into what is Casa Creed's forte, no pun intended on the later card. So Casa Creed is going to win this race because this is his race to win every year, and it's going to be a third straight Jaipur, and it's going to be really nice, but it's also going to be really frustrating because then we have to ask, okay, well, what the hell can he win now going forward because he won his Breeders' Cup?
I mean, you guys said it perfectly. It's going to be his third. I really don't see how he loses this race because, like Jackson was saying, Caravel and the distance. But Jack, he'll probably just go to the same. He'll do the same probably pattern he does last year. Maybe they'll switch the Keeneland race for something else. But I think he's gonna get his third one. He loves the track. He's definitely the horse to beat. Maybe next year if he returns as an 8-year-old, he can get that Saudi win or not lose by a head.
Yeah, I want to
But
mention one thing about that Saudi race. It was extremely frustrating, of course, especially as someone, I can't believe he was the price he was. He was between 7 and 9 to 1 in that race. And I had pretty good money on him, and it was extremely frustrating. He lost some ground in there. I'd still rather he lose ground in this race than get stopped. He needs a clean trip, and that 11 post I think will be fine for that. Just do not get him in traffic. Let him keep coming, and at the top of the stretch, get him out to the center of the turf course and freaking ride the living shit out of him.
if he's cleared, he should absolutely win this race.
Agreed. All right, here we go. The 10th
The
race,
feature of the day.
I'm so used to saying this is the 9th race, which it probably should be because there should be 2 races after the Belmont, not 1. I think that's a joke. But here we go, 10th race, Met Mile. I'm betting Repo rocks, and I hope he loses because I love Cody's Wish. But he just does not present enough value. I really hope Cody's Wish wins. He's an incredible story. He's an incredible horse. Look at the way he closed last time. That was freaking amazing. Nobody else did that in that race. He overcame. I know the pace looks fast, but the race did not fall apart whatsoever. He just dominated the living crap out of those horses. He is special. I hope he wins, but my money will be on Repo Rocks, especially if he eats his hay the morning of the race. There's other horses in here who will get attention. Charge It, Can't Trust. Zandon, I mean, how many times? At least Zandon this time you get 5 to 1. You get a decent price on him. But I think personally this is a 2-horse race. And I'm only going to be using these 2 in anything I do.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say really quickly, Andrew, I'm sorry if this sounds like a slight at you. I have morals, so I can't go with Cody's wish in this race, but I understand why, or I'm sorry, I can't go with Repo Rocks in this race, but I understand why you have to.
Absolutely noble of you to do that.
I
Fine.
have morals. I have morals, as has been demonstrated on several occasions.
I mean, for me, this is just the best story in racing. I mean, hopefully, if he does what I think he's gonna do, and goes on to win Horse of the Year and all that other shit. I mean, it will really make a great movie with the story he has. This is distance. He loves this track, which has been proven. He's in the best form he's ever been. It's gonna be hard to beat him on Saturday. The only thing that could beat him is the frog juice.
Yep, I
Hopefully,
completely agree. All
I
right.
mean, turn around there, but
Yeah.
that turnaround is disgusting. Think about it. Just disgusting. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Well,
Moving
um,
on.
people have figured that out already. Race 11 is the Belmont. No, it's the Manhattan this year. Just kidding. I wish it was the Belmont. I love that number 11 for the Belmont, but that's not going to happen. There's two Charlie Appleby's in here, and I actually don't like either one much. Warren Point was very disappointing finishing in that 5-horse photo in the Man of War for second. And then Ottoman Fleet won his race but had a perfect trip to do it. I'm going to be using 3 horses in here in a box as my main play. Those 3 horses are the 5 Soldier Rising, who was also in that photo. I feel like he's got to get his win at some point. It's got to happen. And you're getting pretty good value. You get Jose Ortiz back on again. But my top pick is actually the 6 Red Knight because he won that Man of War and he won it clear. He closed into a slow pace, and the length and a half margin does not justify how much the best he was in that Man of War. He doesn't have a lot of pace to close into this time, but he didn't need it last time. He just freaking came and ran them down, and I like horses when they are in form, as I've demonstrated earlier on this show. So I will be using Red Knight on top in this race and in the box with the 5 and the 8, who is up to the mark for Todd Pletcher. Not much else to say. A deserving strong favorite based on the way he's ran lately. Should mention one more thing. Rock Emperor and Highest Honors. Chad Brown has won 7 of the last 9 runnings of the Manhattan. I think the streak ends this year. The other 2, by the way, were Grand Motion, Ascend, and Spring Quality. Rock Emperor, if the sundial hits properly, he can win because sometimes Rock Emperor just decides to show up. I will use him as a saver in this race. I think Highest Honors is way over his head. I don't think he can do it. And that's pretty much my opinions in the Manhattan. I just think the Applebee's are going to be pretty far over bet.
Yeah, Charlie Appleby is not going to be delighted after this race because once again, Charlie Appleby is coming over here with horses that are not really group stakes proven horses over in Europe. And you saw specifically with Warren Point, he came over here, ran in the Man of War, was beaten a length and 3/4. He was in that tight photo, so you could say he was effectively second there, but he was still beaten by Red Knight. And Charlie Appleby hasn't been striking this year, as I've been mentioning, with the efficiency that you would normally come to expect from Charlie Appleby. So that's my reason I'm out with Warren Point. Talk about Ottoman Fleet though, because Ottoman Fleet did win the Fort Marcy. Andrew mentions he tripped out there. That is certainly true. But I also want to go back to 3 races that Ottoman Fleet ran this winter at Maidan. He ran in all 3 of the trials leading up into the Dubai turf, the one race with an Arabic name that I'm not even going to try to say, the Singspiel, and then the Dubai Millennium. He was third in all 3 of those races, and on 2 occasions he was beaten by a horse named Valiant Prince, who I actually had in both of those races, which was very kind to my wallet. But anyway, Valiant Prince ran in the Jebel Hada, which is a Group 1 on uh, the final trial night in March for the Dubai World Cup races, and he was beaten 3 lengths in that race while finishing 6th. So Valiant Prince is not really the strongest horse in terms of form, and this is a horse who got the better of Ottoman Fleet 3 times. He ran at Newmarket in the Earl of Sefton. He won that race, but there wasn't really a whole lot of class horses there. It was a very weak European Group 3 competition, and he was just a cut below Group Stakes Company. If you when he was running in Europe last year, he ran I think the race that I would compare closest to this Belmont or this Manhattan that he ran in, it was the King Edward VII, or otherwise known as the Ascot Derby at Royal Ascot last year. He was fourth, beaten by Changing of the Guard, who was one of Aidan O'Brien's Derby also rans in 2022, who came back in his first race, a race going a mile and 5.5 furlongs at Chester, one of the race courses over there, and he was third, beaten 3 3/4 lengths there. So I think Ottoman Fleet is very much a cut below European Group Stakes competition levels. Again, he can win a Group Stakes race, but I mentioned the form that race carries. I just think that he is very equal to these American horses, and I don't think that he's one. Like I said with Siskiny, I don't think that. Although this time I actually mean it much more than him. I don't think that this is a horse that you can default to and just say, okay, Charlie Appleby, end of story. I'm going to go to Soldier Rising here because Soldier Rising's been knocking on the door for forever, ever since 2021 in the Saratoga Derby. I've been waiting for that win to come. It has not come yet. I'm going to hope that it's going to come this weekend. He ran well in the Man of War. Give him an extra he's cutting back to the 1.25 miles. I don't really care. I'm just gonna, and the 12-1 price is certainly one that I will be very happy if I get anywhere close to that with him.
I think this race it's pretty simple to me. It's up to the marks race. I mean, for a horse, I mean, this is where you actually have form improvement, not like Jamie Ness, right? It's crazy that this horse in December was running for 9 winners of 1 allowance at Aqueduct and made fourth there. But this horse is just different on the turf, man. Freaked at Gulfstream, back to back. Maker's Mark, I mean, he was way far back with Modern Games. Those two were the best horses in those races. But then he goes to Turf Classic, just puts on a show against good horses. And then now he's getting an extra 16th. Irad isn't dumb. He's not going to get off Red Knight if he didn't think this horse would probably win. So I get that. He's also being loyal to Pletcher, but what we saw last time was very impressive, and it proved that he was the best turf horse in this country. And I think he shows that again Saturday.
It's definitely possible if things continue to progress as they've progressed. The 12th race, here we go. 50 years since the master of the main track and of turf in his last 2 races of his career ran and won this race in the fashion we all know he won in. We get the 155th running of my favorite race every year, my favorite race to handicap, my favorite race to watch. I'm sure you guys, it's far up your list too. It's the Belmont, and I'm happy to say that I do have a strong opinion in this race, but we kind of all have the same opinion, so I don't kind of want to start the conversation. So who does want to start it?
I can start the conversation. So I every single year, the Belmont Stakes, and it has been this way for, I really think, the last 10 years. It has been post Palace Malice, because I don't really think Palace Malice was super bred to get the Belmont trip, but post Palace Malice, it has been a pedigree competition, and I think anybody who doesn't view it as that, as to what this race has become, is mistaken, because horses, unfortunately, and I'm going to emphasize this very much, unfortunately, do not run 1.5 miles anymore. They should run 1.5 miles. That used to be a distance that was actually important. It wasn't just a footnote that we run one time a year. But the horses that are bred to get the Belmont, every single year they run their race in the Belmont. And there's 3 specific horses. There's 2 specific horses in my mind that I think are absolutely tailor-made for this race. One's Tapit Trice and one's Hit Show. Now, Tapit Trice was everybody's Belmont pick before the Kentucky Derby, and it's easy to understand why, because he looks so much like Mo Donegal like Todd Pletcher's other Belmont Stakes winners, like even like Essential Quality looked in the Bluegrass. His Bluegrass win was a very Essential Quality-esque Bluegrass win. He disappointed a little bit in the Kentucky Derby. I don't think he disappointed as much as some folks do, but certainly you would have preferred to see him run a little bit better in the Kentucky Derby. I think Todd Pletcher is the best in the business at doing this 5 weeks from the Kentucky Derby to the Belmont. I don't think that's the healthiest thing for the industry, but Todd Pletcher, I'm going to tell like it is, Todd Pletcher is certainly the master at doing this. So Tapit Trice, impossible to dismiss here, but you've also got Hit Show, who is a horse that I really liked after the Withers. Didn't run great in the Wood Memorial, and I kind of bailed on him going into the Kentucky Derby, but he ran an extremely good race in the Kentucky Derby, considering how close he was to the pace that was as fast as it was. We did not think the pace was going to be as fast as it was there. Manny Franco, to his credit, from the one post, got him involved early and got the in remarkably better trip than I would have thought he was going to be able to get coming from that one post with Hit Show. He put himself in the race, and unfortunately, they just went a little bit too fast early. But Brad Cox is another person, very Todd Pletcher-like, loves to do this 5 weeks from the Kentucky Derby to the Belmont. He's only done it once, but I imagine that him as a trainer, especially with a horse like Hit Show, who's going to get every single yard of this 1.5 miles, being a son of Candy Ride out of a Tapit mare, is absolutely licking his chops, because this is what he did 2 years ago with Essential Quality. I think he sees a prime opportunity to do it again with Hit Show, albeit he also sees a prime opportunity to do it with Angel of Empire, who I don't like as much as everyone else does, because I don't think he's going to. I don't know that he's going to be the post-time favorite for this race. I think he should be the post-time favorite, even though he's not my choice in this race, because I think that he is better at this trip than Forte is, but Forte will likely be the post-time favorite based on reputation, and that's understandable. I just don't think Angel of Empire is as tailor-made for this race as Hit Show is, and that's how I handicap the Belmont Stakes every single year. I find the horse that is best suited to get the 1.5 miles, and I think that's Hit Show. That's why Hit Show's my pick this year, and I hate to be this person to do it, because breeding is not everything when it comes to horse racing, but so much of the Belmont Stakes in its recent runnings has been about the pedigrees. So Hit Show's my choice in this race. And another reason why Hit Show's my choice in here is look at the odds disparity on the morning line between him, Angel of Empire, and Tapit Trice. He's 10-1. Tapit Trice is 3-1. Angel of Empire 7-2. Now, I don't think he's going to be that 10-1 come post time. I think he'll be closer to between the 6 to 8 to 1 range. But I can accept that in a race where Forte is going to take money, Tapit Trice is going to take money, Angel of Empire is certainly going to take money. So he's going to be the 5th choice in this race. I can certainly accept that. And who knows, maybe even Arcangelo takes some more money than Hit Show does, because I have heard some scuttlebuzz about people liking him for this race. But I'm looking at worst case scenario 5th choice with Hit Show, and I'm going to be all over that.
Sammy?
This race, it kind of boils down to the horse that get the pedigree, and it boils down to Forte. I honestly, if another horse was on Forte, Hit Show, Angel of Empire, or Tapit Trice, or maybe even Arcangelo, I mean, that's like half the field, but mainly those 4 win. I'll be surprised. I mean, the other horses just don't seem good enough. I don't really like Arcangelo. Arcangelo going to 2, he's never been out 2 turns, and he just seems like the typical hype horse from the Peter Pan. They always seem to disappoint. I mean, Sir Winston didn't, but he didn't even win the race. But I don't think National Treasure gets. He'll probably get a distance, but I don't think he gets the walk like he did in the Preakness. But this race just boils down to those horses. Won't be making a pick, because I'll probably, if I make a pick, the horse will be scratched tomorrow. So one of those 4 horses will be probably. They might run 1, 2, 3, 4, but who knows?
I'm hoping they run 1, 2, 3, 4, and I love Hit Show in this race. I was for months thinking I was going to pick Tapit Trice, as were a lot of other people. The Derby, it did disappoint me quite a bit, because he got a pace to run into, and he couldn't manage to be better than 9 lengths behind the winner. He's still my second choice, but Hit Show presents the value. Look at the pace numbers on Hit Show. If you look at everybody else, except for Forte and the 5 horse, who, in my opinion, has no chance. He's got balanced. Look at those early and late numbers; they're practically the same. That's exactly the kind of horse I want in this Belmont Stakes. Another thing, he's going to get the trip. Manny Franco's most common ride in a horse race is to stalk second or third, just outside the lead. And that's exactly what I see happening. He's got a perfect post. Not that post matters greatly in the Belmont, because it doesn't. You got plenty of time till the first turn. But I just think he's going to be sitting right in that catbird seat, and he can easily hit the lead at the right time, and I think he'll have enough stamina to hold off the closers. His Wood Memorial wasn't as disappointing to me as it was to other people. I was very against him into that race, and he made up at least a little bit of ground, and he got leaned on by Lord Miles. There shouldn't have been a DQ, but he did get leaned on and was in a disadvantageous position. And his Derby, Jack made all the points already. I don't need to say it again. Tremendous effort, being that close to the pace. Him and Two Phils ran the best races. I don't think he'll be 10-1. I think he'll be 6-1. That's still good enough for me. I'm going to use him and the 3 favorites. Forte, I have my doubts with the distance. Tapit Trice, I do not. I just question his ability. Angel of Empire just got such a good setup in the Derby that I don't think he's going to get again. And you've got 3 horses in here that are probably going to come from a little bit further behind, and I feel like Hit Show just might get the jump on all of them. National Treasure, I think that Preakness was so weak and such a trip out. I mean, I bet 20 to win on Blazing Sevens. I was pissed off when he lost and he hung. Blazing Sevens is nowhere near the quality of the horses in this race, in my opinion. So I can't use him at all. I think he's just going to kind of run like We the People last year. He's going to set the lead and he's just going to lose his stamina at the quarter pole. And that's about it. I love the number 7 Hit Show.
Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. That's exactly how Manny Franco rode the Belmont last year on Skippy Longstocking, correct?
Yes, and he got third with a horse who, let's face it, third was as good as he could have done, because Mo Donegal was always going to win that race, and Nest was the quintessentially bred horse for that race, so he couldn't have done anything better than what he did last year. If he gives the Skippy Longstocking ride, this horse will have every single chance.
But Andrew, what we really need to talk about is how important of a race the Ohio Derby is. The Ohio Derby is the newest feature.
Oh my God, yeah. See, that's why Two Phils isn't here, because he's running in the extremely prestigious Ohio Derby rather than running in the feature race for 3-year-olds at the sports venue in the country where more champions have competed than anywhere else.
Well, it's that, and then it's also the extremely prestigious Kentucky Derby Junior, the Matt Winn Stakes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've got that circled on my calendar. Do you?
I'm not going to Belmont Park to watch the Kentucky, or I'm not going to the Belmont Park to watch the Belmont Stakes. I'm going to Belmont Park to watch the Matt Winn. And anyone who is not going to Belmont Park to watch the Matt Winn should really question their priorities, because the Matt Winn is the horse race.
Yep, you heard it from Jack. Mr. Sarcasm. Okay, race 13, last one, finally, woo! There should be 2 races after the Belmont, but whatever. I'm going to default. It's been a long day. I'm going to default to Chad and Clement. I'm going to pick Clement on top, number 3. Clear Conscience. Nice maiden breaking score last time. Closed into a pretty slow pace. Got the job done. And I'm going to use Spirit of St. Louis for Chad. And is it Peter Brandt? No. Okay. Not Peter Brandt, but still okay. I'll take that. I'll take those 2. That's how I'm going to close out my day, guys. What about you? Oh, little shout out to Jack's favorite horse, Barrel of Quest.
I'm gonna go broke if I bet Barrel of Quest. I'm gonna be taking this race off. I got him the one time. I'm convinced that he will never win again. But that one time was nice.
I mean, I really have no opinion on this race. I mean, probably end up going with Chad, as I always do. But yeah, it was a little weird, Andrew, when after the Belmont, I only saw one race. I was a little confused, but it's fine by me.
Yeah, I just
It's
think it
not as,
might. We're parking in the green lot all the way on the other side of the track, so it shouldn't be too bad getting out of there. I'm just hoping Manny Franco sweeps the late double. That's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, well, now I forgot my train of thought. Oh yeah, it's not as bad as not moving 3 grade ones to Friday. I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I don't care as much about that, but I understand why you feel that way. And with that, everybody, we have finished going over 24 races. Wow, that was a long time. I don't even want to see what the recording's up to. Let's see. We've got an hour and 37 minutes, so this is going to be about a 90-minute show. But thank you all for tuning in, and more importantly, thank you to Jack and to Sammy for being here and getting to bullshit with me for an hour and a half. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us, like always.
It is always a pleasure.
Yes, and it was a pleasure to be on your show yesterday, Jack, as well. So this is it, guys. Belmont Stakes Racing Festival down in 2 days. This video will be out tonight, Thursday night. Hopefully we don't make fools out of ourselves, as at least I usually do. We'll have some good opinions for Friday and Saturday. We'll be there. Sammy will be there Saturday. Me and Jack will be there both days. Should be a great time. Let's hope all our favorite horses run well. More importantly, though, pay your bills first. You have a lot of chances to lose a lot of money on these two cards. Be responsible, people, and may the odds be ever in your favor. We'll see you in 4 weeks for the Stars and Stripes Racing Festival. Take care.